Located on 225 acres in Garden City, Long Island, Nassau Community College, a member of the State University of New York system, has close to 20,000 students attend the school each year. The college mascot is Leo the Lion, and these are his stories of the school's absolute best and brightest who have graduated over the past 50 plus years. So let's catch up together as the Alumni Association of Nassau Community College proudly presents Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Lion Tales. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I am a director on the board of the Alumni Association at Nassau Community College and a proud graduate. I am here to celebrate the successes of our alum, and together we will share stories that will uplift, inspire, and often amuse you. Each week, I will introduce you to the alumni of Nassau Community College interested in sharing their experiences with us while attending the college and the secrets to their success. Look for many new and exciting events on the Alumni Association social media pages and share any exciting news with us on Facebook, Instagram, or on our webpage at ncc.edu/alumni, or find me on X at Dr. Lynnda Nadien. The lion is the mascot for Nassau Community College. The lion is associated with balancing power, intention, physical strength, and grace. Our alum possess these same characteristics and symbolize courage, nobility, royalty, strength, stateliness, and valor. Lions are a symbol of royalty, and all of our alum contribute to the beauty of our college society. Together, we are Lion Tales. Today, I would like to welcome to Lion Tales Stacey Garcia, class of 2022. Stacey received her associate's degree from NCC and was at first skeptical of attending a community college. She served the college as president of the Future Teachers Club and upon graduation, transferred to SUNY Old Westbury, where she is now studying elementary education with a concentration in bilingual education. Stacey loves hiking, hanging out with her family and friends, and is hoping to be a successful teacher in the future. Welcome to Lion Tales, Stacey Garcia, class of 2022.
Hi.
Hi. So what were your intentions upon high school graduation?
So high school graduation, I was a little indecisive at first of my career. So I did go to BOCES Berry Tech for cosmetology. And during the pandemic, I wasn't able to go in person anymore. So I decided to go to college. And it happened to be that Nassau Community College, I was able to talk to the advisement from the office. They were very communicative to me, and they talked to me about their programs. And I've always wanted to be a teacher, so I was interested in their education program. So I decided to go to Nassau Community College and go for the child education.
And so what were some of your interests at the time when you were thinking about heading over to Nassau from BOCES?
I think in a way I was always interested to become a teacher, but because of the classes in Nassau Community College, I declared my major at Nassau Community College because I wasn't decisive at first. But I took some classes where, psychology, where we learned about kids and like their minds and how they work, and I was very interested in to go more further into that field because of the classes.
Yeah, and your associate's degree, was it in psychology or just an associate's in arts?
It was child education, so I declared it with child education 1st or 6th grade.
Okay, so then once upon coming to Nassau, then some of your favorite courses here, the psychology was something you were very interested in?
Yes, it was psychology because, as I said, it talked about like the kids' minds and it talked about emotions. And I feel like now observing, I see a lot of kids with, behaviors, and sometimes it not only is it academic, but also socially. So we have to get to know the kids that way as well. So that class really helped me.
Yeah, and we noticed too that, do you find too, now that you're in the field and actually doing these observations, you are assigned to an elementary school in Uniondale Public Schools, which is pretty much a neighboring district to Nassau's campus. What are some of the things that you're seeing that, strategically, when you become, the teacher in charge, that you're going to kind of think about how you might frame out the day for those students? And what do you think they might need more of that maybe we're not giving to them? or maybe they need less of something, and how do you feel about balancing that out?
I think as of right now, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I like the schedule, the routine, and I like the space the classroom has. And I think that each student, I didn't get to see them from the beginning. So as of right now, they all know their schedule and the classroom setup, everything that's around, at least from the teacher that I'm observing. She has like Post-its and like all around the classroom where the students can utilize and visualize. So as of right now, I think that's something I would keep in mind, to always keep what we make and utilize every like space in the classroom, and make sure each student can like look back at it in case they may have forgotten.
Right. Yeah, and do you find that the students are receptive to you as an observer in the classroom? You know, how do they react when you're there in the room?
The first couple of days when I was observing, they were a little startled, I would say, because I was someone new to them. But they were used to seeing different observer students come in their classroom. So they mentioned to me about the previous student observer. So they were like, oh, someone new. And they were excited because I get to work in small groups with them. So if the teacher is doing something else, then they would call me and like I would assist them. So I think in a way, being there kind of helps them as well because they have another pair of hands.
Right. And now thinking about some of the professors that you had on campus, now you did go to school during the pandemic here. And while you were doing some of the remote classes, who were some of the professors that inspired you to continue earning this degree here?
I have to say that my psychology professor, she was one of the ones that I always keep in mind when I think of Nass Community College, because academically she was always there to assist each and one of us and answered all of our questions. But also, even aside from school, like I received scholarships, she would see my name on like the newspaper, and she would contact me. She was like, Stacey, congratulations. I noticed your name on the newspaper and about this. And then I feel like that's something that not many professors do. So her having, to reach out to me and like congratulate me, I felt like that was something really nice that she did. So that's like something memorable I have of her.
Yeah. And how was it doing the classes remotely, during the pandemic?
My last year of high school was my senior year. I was having the classes online through Zoom. So entering college through Zoom as well, I was kind of used to it because of, in high school I was doing it already online. But I think I benefited from it because, I was able to have all the resources I needed around me. But a challenge I would say is I'm used to having communication between the professors, and sometimes through email, it's not very, there's a word for it, but it's like, it's hard to, I was able to reach the person or the professor, but I feel like it was more one way than two way, because in person I'm able to, go up to her or him and have that more in-depth conversation.
Yeah, I guess for a lot of people it was sort of like very robotic that we weren't able to kind of interact like sort of physically, just at least their presence sometimes is basically what is needed too, so that you can kind of talk to them and move forward in the coursework. Now, when you decided to pursue education, what were some of your thoughts about actually becoming a teacher and now looking at the elementary ed with a bilingual extension? Can you explain what degree you will come out with because of that?
Yes. So Nass Community College, I didn't have the bilingual extension. I did hear about bilingual education and having that in my major, but it wasn't until I went to my college now, which is SUNY Old Westbury, that I added the extension, and it was because I am fluent in both Spanish and English, so I was kind of convinced of adding it because it would be an advantage, especially now where there's many newcomers and students who speak speak English and Spanish. And so I will be leaving with child education with the bilingual extension, in which, I will be teaching in both Spanish and English in the school. And it's something that I'm very proud of, because when I was in school, I was an ESL student, and receiving that help in English really, really benefited me, because, it's not easy not knowing a language. And I feel like I can put my shoes in the students who are challenged with a new language, and having to hear Spanish and English not only will help them in one language, but it will help them in the other, which hopefully they soon will become bilingual students as well.
You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Stacey Garcia, class of 2022. Yes, moving back toward the bilingual extension, what are some of the challenges for a bilingual educator at this point? We spoke about being, almost 25 years into the millennium, and they do speak about 21st century education and leadership. But now we're seeing that there is a great need to be a dual language learner. And what are some of the things that we can provide for children using the bilingual program?
Well, with the bilingual teacher in the classroom, I feel like it would help the students, learn each language more in depth, and it's useful because when a student is challenged in one language, they have the benefit of asking the teacher how to pronounce, or what does that word mean, the definition, the cognates. So having those resources around the room, or even so the teacher or a modeled student, they would have the opportunity to learn the language and not feel challenged.
Is the model still using the majority of the day in speaking in English? The teacher would instruct in English, and then using the native language arts model for 1 hour or a block of time for bilingual instruction. Is that something that is still in place?
Yes, it depends on the district, but I believe that some districts have Spanish in the morning and then English in the afternoon, or vice versa, or it would be a week in Spanish and then the week in English. I haven't started my observation yet in the dual language, but I was able to speak to my next cooperating teacher, and in the district I'm in right now, Uniondale, they said it's 1 week in Spanish and 1 week in English.
Okay, so they're doing it like week by week, or during the day, everything focuses on like the daily routine, the daily schedules?
It focuses on the daily schedule and content of what they're learning. Just the language that they're speaking will be in Spanish or English. And if the student is speaking, let's say, English and the week is Spanish, then the teacher would allow them to speak that language, but then will answer in the language that they're supposed to be in that week.
Okay. That's an interesting way to approach it. Now, how about when it comes to the writing piece, when students are really new at the language and then they're supposed to acquire language, but also acquire the ability to do some of the writing? What does that look like in a bilingual class?
I haven't fully experienced it in person, but through my classes at SUNY Old Westbury, I've learned that sentence frames, sentence starters. So yes. Having the slips where you have the beginning. My favorite blank is something like that. Yeah. So you have a little starting point to help them, write that sentence or write that word. That really helps new language learners.
Yeah, and about the use of visual aids when it comes to second language learners, why is using those visuals so important?
It's important because sometimes, just hearing the word, it can sound similar as a word you may think it is, and sometimes that can, make the students make that mistake where they confuse the words where they think that it means in the other language. So having the visual, they are able to clearly see what that image is and what's the word that corresponds to it.
Yeah. And now we spoke about this, I know in class, about having support and access and then resources and technology. What part does technology play in a bilingual classroom, from your viewpoint right now?
From my viewpoint, I feel like the technology plays an important role because not always, will you have the opportunity to be placed within a group. Let's say you're working in a small group where all of you or all of them know that language. Sometimes having that technology, there's, platforms where they could have the reading based on their preferred language. So if the student is strong in Spanish, the technology, there's the apps now, they include like the opportunity to have like read in a different language or listen to in a different language. So having that technology, they're able to do that.
Yeah. Now, the students in Uniondale, I know, are working a lot on their iPads. How have you observed the lesson planning that goes along with a student actually completing projects on their iPad or submitting work to the teacher using the iPad? Do you find that that's effective? And although the students may not be well-versed in the English language yet, are they well-versed in their technology skills?
I think observing the students with their iPads, they're pretty good at it. I have to say, a lot of them are used to it because at home they have that technology, whether it's their parents' phone or a tablet or a computer. When they log into iReady, they're able to go through it without the teacher's assistance. So I'm seeing that whenever they're on their iPad, they're able to, access each level or each course or each reading on their own.
Yeah. And now, are there any programs that you've seen that are designed specifically for an ENL, English as a native language learner? Any computer programs that are working for the students?
I haven't really seen that yet, but I would definitely ask that because that's something to look forward.
Yeah, that possibly some of the companies are developing more software. Sometimes the anthologies that the school districts are working with have CDs that are accompanying the anthology so that you can use those as well. And there's always like a section for the ENL learner so that you can sort of develop more effective lesson plans and then throw in that technology piece. I think that that's a good way to promote writing as well. And looking at like the bigger picture when it comes to diversity and equity and inclusion within the programs, what do you think are the challenges there? How do we make sure that we are sort of open-minded and more globally receptive to the ENL student? I
think that it's difficult when, there's like new students who are entering and they aren't motivated to learn the language, and they're placed in the program because, the parents put them in there. Yes. So it's the challenge, I would say, globally would be the students' motivation and their level on, they're entering. So it's like a little difficult for them to feel that motivation if they may feel embarrassed.
Right. And there's also the initial assessment. Like, let's say a student is coming, directly from Honduras, or they're coming directly from El Salvador, and they come right into all of a sudden this classroom. And the assessment that we give, the NICETEL or the NICESLAT, those exams are difficult and they're challenging. And although the student may have so many talents and abilities that we haven't seen yet, sometimes they get put into the program and then they quickly can come out of it because they actually get their skills higher than they would without that. So have you been working with any of those assessments or seeing students that have been assessed and then they seem to really take off and their learning really sort of comes together overnight?
I haven't seen that yet since I'm still in my general education observation.
Yes.
But I'm thinking that they do have that because I've talked to the cooperating teacher in the bilingual side, and he mentioned that they are, practicing each day. So they are able to pass and feel confident when they're doing the NICESLAT exam because, that's their goal to leave that entering level and move up.
Right. And it's, it really is. It's a difficult exam if you just look at it from a general point of view, that there's a lot of kind of tricky questions on there. But we do notice that sometimes students that are assessed and then they're part of the program and they come in as a newcomer, they are so excited to be in the program that they really do exceptionally well. So it's so exciting to see that. You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Stacey Garcia, class of 2022. So how do you balance work and play and all of the schoolwork?
I think having a schedule, I have my monthly schedule, so I, make sure that I know where and when I have to be at a place. And today, I feel like it's been working for me, and it is my first or second semester now working and doing school at the same time. And now this semester I'm observing. It's nice because that's something that I look forward to in the future, working with students. So being able to observe and see how a day-to-day classroom works and a school day, I think that it's good for me to start seeing that, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, and how was the transition from a community college? Because you did say that you were a little skeptical in the beginning about attending a community college, but then being here, you were the president of the Future Teachers Club, and you became pretty involved. But then transitioning over to the 4-year, what was that like? And did you have any options of where you wanted to go, or you knew that you were going to SUNY Old Westbury? So
at Nassau Community College, I felt very supportive by each professor and each person I was able to communicate with. They were always very informative, and I felt like I was part of that community. So I don't regret my decision attending there, because everything about it, the classes, the professors, communicating, even through the pandemic, it was, I have to say, easy, because everyone was, always trying to help each and one of the students. And SUNY Old Westbury was my next option, because talking through my professors and my advisor at Nassau Community College, they told me that SUNY and CUNY, they're great options to look at. And when I interviewed with SUNY Old Westbury, they were able to convince me, to their program. And as I said, the bilingual program as well, they told me that it's a great advantage for me, an opportunity to take. And SUNY Old Westbury was one of the ones that had that program with the bilingual extension. So once I heard it, and once they told me the benefits and opportunities that they had for me, I was convinced. And seeing that it's only like 15 minutes from my house, it was, a go-to.
Right. So what advice would you give to the incoming students at Nassau Community College? That when the fall comes and people start applying and students are graduating from high school and they're not sure what to do, what advice would you give to them?
I would definitely recommend it, and I would advise them to go to Nassau Community College. And even if if they're skeptical, or because it's not a private, or that's not something that they thought they would want to go to, I would try to talk to them and say, if this is like something that you want to start off with and then maybe move on to a 4-year college, then I would start at Nassau Community College, because not only are they affordable, or something, they're also a community, and the professors and the classes they would take are beneficial, and they would for sure learn something. And I think that that's something they would be proud of.
Yeah. Is there something in the future that you hope that you might be able to study in addition to your childhood education degree and also your bilingual degree?
As of right now, literacy, in my Literacy for All in SUNY Old Westbury, I was convinced that, literacy is also important, because it's everywhere. We're reading, we're writing, and that's something that I would probably want to go to.
Yeah, and don't you think it'll be interesting too, to when you become, certified and you're actually in a bilingual classroom, that all of that literacy work that you did would be able to come back into that classroom. And what type of children's books do you like to show the students, and what are they kind of interested in right now? Do you notice that in the room?
Yes, they love animals. So a lot of animals. Right now we're learning about insects, and they're in love with it. Like, they're excited to learn about each animal. And right now we're on ladybugs, and I feel like having that theme where the students enjoy. I think those are the books where we should aim for.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we figure out about the interest levels and then try to get as many books as we can. And I know we always speak about working with the school library and the librarian, because that is where the librarian has that expertise to kind of find the books that the students really love, and they know all the authors, and that's something that really does help out when you're doing reading in the classroom. What did you learn about yourself as a student upon graduation from Nassau Community College?
I have to say that I learned to always be flexible and reflective and to appreciate, because as I said before, I was a little indecisive because, most of my friends I graduated with in high school, they were all going to upstate or not something, around. And having to tell them, like, oh, I'm going to Nassau Community College, they always wondered why I chose that. And I'm appreciative of it, because today, whenever they ask me, like, oh, where did you get your associates from, I proudly say Nassau Community College, because of how awesome and amazing the experience was for me.
Yeah, all the alum always say that. And, because again, a lot of people felt like, they were a little bit kind of embarrassed that they went to a community college first, but it turned out to be like such a great, amazing journey that's leading them to success. I would like to thank our guest, Stacey Garcia, class of 2022. Thank you for being here today, Stacey. Thanks so much for being a guest. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I serve as a director on the board of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association, and I am a proud alum. Lion Tales is available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. More information is online at nccradio.org. Thanks for listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC.